What if life isn't something we control, but something we learn to flow with? Imagine navigating a river. At times it's smooth and calm, at other moments wild and unpredictable. Yet no matter what, the current never stops. That's the secret most people miss, not control, but flow. Part 1. Flow, the hidden rhythm of life. In the world of psychology and self-mastery, there's a powerful concept known as flow. More than a buzzword, it captures those rare moments where effort fades and everything clicks. You're not forcing the task, you're one with it. It's a deep harmony between your inner state and the world around you. Time disappears, distractions melt, and for a brief, beautiful while you're fully alive. But let's be honest, life isn't always like that. Sometimes we feel adrift, like a ship without a compass floating in a sea of uncertainty. Distractions surround us. Unseen currents pull us in every direction. The storms of life are unpredictable, but they're not the problem. The real danger is drifting without purpose. Part 2. The power of purpose and goals. That's where clear goals become your guiding stars. Think about it, when you know what matters most, even the chaos begins to make sense. Goals aren't just boxes to check off. They're deeply personal, born from passion, desire, and soul-level intention. When you're anchored to your purpose, even the most violent waves can't knock you off course for long. You'll always find your way back. But here's the key. Flow isn't about strict planning. It's not about forcing your way through life like a checklist machine. True flow is about moving with intention and letting life respond. It's about getting so immersed in your purpose-driven actions that your focus becomes magnetic. You're no longer chasing results. You're embodying them. Part 3. Flow transcends productivity. This isn't about hustling harder. It's about aligning deeper. Flow doesn't mean working non-stop. It means letting your passion pull you into the present moment so completely it feels like the world fades away. Every step you take in harmony with your values becomes a step toward fulfillment. You're not just moving forward, you're being transformed. And when you focus, truly focus, the magic begins. Think of focus like a golden thread running through a chaotic tapestry. Most people get caught in the knots, but those in flow, they follow the thread. They filter the noise. They see clearly. It's not that they never get distracted, it's that they know how to return to the center. They know what matters. Part 4. Magnetic focus and the power of the present moment. Concentration at its highest level doesn't feel like effort. It feels like being drawn into something that resonates with the deepest part of you. The distractions fall away not because you're forcing them out, but because your soul is more interested in what it's doing right now. Each moment becomes a sacred experience of attention and intention blending together. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "While human judgment may err, true art requires a mind always focused." It's this blend of artistic presence and personal clarity that allows flow to flourish. And here's the beauty: it builds on itself. The more you follow your flow, the easier it becomes. You start attracting opportunities, insights, and people who resonate with your purpose. Life begins to cooperate. Part 5. The dance between action and selflessness. And then something strange and beautiful happens. You stop trying to impress. You stop worrying about how you look. In fact, you forget yourself altogether. Not in a bad way, but in the most liberating way possible. The boundaries between you and what you're doing dissolve. You're not just doing the work, you become the work. Ever seen an artist lost in their creation? A dancer who becomes the dance? That's flow. And it's not reserved for the elite. It's for anyone who's willing to go deep into their passion with humility and heart. Because in that state, when you're not performing for approval or validation, you finally meet the real you. Your creativity flows like a river, not from pressure, but from presence, from being completely here. And in that space, something sacred emerges, a sense of connection, of clarity, of something higher. Part 6. Losing the mask to find the self. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." In the context of flow, this isn't just poetic, it's a truth we've forgotten. Losing self-consciousness isn't about becoming less, it's about discovering more, about seeing who you really are when the noise fades and the pretending stops. We don't need to perform, we need to remember. Flow reminds us. And the best part, these aren't just rare magical moments, they're signposts. Clues, proof that our natural state is deeper than distraction, that joy and peace and focus are not just possible, they're waiting for us. Part 7. Time Warp, the mystery of timeless presence. There's something fascinating about time when you're in flow. Minutes stretch into hours or hours collapse into moments. You lose track. Why? Because you're no longer outside of life observing it. You're inside of it, living it, fully present. And in that deep engagement, time bends. It's not just a psychological trick, it's a spiritual insight. Flow teaches us that life isn't about how much time we have, but how deeply we live it. The present becomes a portal, a place where fulfillment isn't found in the future, but right here, right now. But how do we cultivate this state more often? By designing our lives around what energizes us, by making space for what matters, by honoring the passions that pull us, the activities that absorb us, and the goals that light us up from within. Previously, we explored how being in flow allows us to move through life with ease, where time fades, the self dissolves, and action becomes art. But how exactly do we sustain that flow? How do we remain rooted in the present when the mind constantly reaches forward or clings to the past? Part 1. Anchoring in the present through engagement. True concentration begins not with force, but with intentional presence. When we prioritize moments of deep engagement, we anchor ourselves in the now. In those moments past, regrets and future anxieties dissolve. Not forever, but just long enough for clarity to surface. And that's the magic of flow. It doesn't demand that we escape time, it invites us to dance with it. By embracing the fluid nature of time, rather than resisting it, we begin to realize something profound. We have the ability to shape how we experience it. Flow is not about controlling life, it's about learning to respond to it in real time. Part 2. The dance of feedback and response. This is where the beauty of feedback comes into play. Flow thrives on immediate dynamic interaction, a subtle but powerful back and forth between action and reaction. Like a dancer attuned to the rhythm of music, a person in flow fine-tunes every move based on the beat of their environment. Feedback is more than just information. It creates rhythm. It creates harmony. It becomes a compass that guides us moment by moment, keeping us aligned with our goals and values. It's what prevents us from drifting too far from our path without realizing it. The more attuned we become to feedback, both external signals and internal sensations, the easier it is to make small, necessary adjustments. These micro-shifts prevent minor problems from growing into major obstacles. And in this constant responsive dialogue with life, we start flowing rather than forcing. Part 3. Balance between challenge and skill. At the very heart of flow lies a sacred balance, a delicate alignment between the difficulty of a task and our capacity to meet it. Picture yourself walking a tightrope. Lean too far to the left and things are too easy. You're bored, disengaged, uninspired. Lean too far to the right, and it becomes overwhelming, too difficult, too uncertain, too stressful. But right in the center, right where challenge and skill meet, flow ignites. It's here that time suspends. It's here that action feels effortless. And it's here that we come alive. Dr. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the pioneer of flow psychology, once said that flow is the kind of feeling you look back on and say, "That was fun. That was meaningful." To make life feel this way, tasks must be structured not just for completion, but for engagement, for enjoyment, for flow. Part 4. The cyclical nature of growth. But this balance is not static, it evolves. As we grow, our skill set expands, and that means the challenges must also rise to meet us. If we stay in comfort, we fall into stagnation. But if we intentionally seek new edges, we stay in rhythm with growth. This is the self-renewing nature of flow. The more we engage with it, the more it compels us to grow. As our skills deepen, we crave richer experiences, and those new challenges in turn sharpen our skills even further. It becomes a feedback loop of personal evolution, a dance where every step, every pivot, every leap builds on the last. To maintain this dance, we must be willing to tune in, to ask, am I growing? Am I challenged? Am I still aligned? By recalibrating our environment, our goals, and our expectations, we stay in harmony with our expanding capacity. Part 5. Flow and the sense of control. In the metaphor of life as a river, experiencing flow is like being a seasoned captain steering your ship with both confidence and adaptability. You may not control the winds or tides, but you steer the wheel. You decide your response. And that's the essence of personal control in flow, not external domination, but internal agency. When we're in flow, we're not at the mercy of our surroundings. We engage with them. We respond purposefully. We guide our experience rather than react blindly to it. And to strengthen this inner control, we can use a powerful method. The 3 R's: recognize, reflect, redirect. First, we recognize the moment we feel off-center. Those times when things feel chaotic or out of sync. Awareness is the beginning of mastery. Next, we reflect on what triggered that feeling. Was it fear, pressure, distraction? Understanding gives us leverage. Finally, we redirect our energy and attention toward actions that serve our goals and values. When practiced regularly, this approach cultivates a resilient form of control, one that thrives even amid life's unpredictability. You're no longer just reacting, you're co-creating. Part 6. Finding fulfillment in the process itself. Flow is not just about performance or productivity. It's a reminder that fulfillment isn't reserved for the finish line, it's found in the movement itself. When you're fully immersed in a task that resonates with your skills and passions, the doing becomes its own reward. You stop obsessing over the result. You stop chasing the next milestone. Instead, you begin to savor every decision, every effort, every quiet win along the way. Each action becomes a thread in a larger tapestry, woven not from pressure, but from purpose. But here's the challenge: we live in a world addicted to results, a culture that values the destination more than the journey. That tells us our worth lies in what we produce, not how we live. Choosing to embrace the process is a radical act. It requires a shift, a reorientation of attention from what's next to what's now. Part 7. Flow as a lifestyle, not just a state. Ultimately, flow is not just a temporary mental state. It's a way of being, a rhythm, a current beneath the surface of daily life. When we live in flow, we don't just chase dreams, we embody them. We don't just create, we become the creation. Ordinary moments are infused with meaning. Small actions carry the weight of purpose. And what allows this shift to happen are 8 essential characteristics, distinct yet interconnected elements that, once recognized and nurtured, elevate the mundane into the miraculous. When these traits are woven into the fabric of your life, flow becomes natural. Not something you have to force, but something you fall into effortlessly.